got one that can see.
Hey, how you guys doing this morning? I got a video. I'm gonna actually title this "My Confession" because I have a confession to make. This morning when I got up, I shared a video last night about the catching away, and I had 2 comments. The first 2 comments I saw was this one guy said, "There ain't no rapture. Jesus says you have to endure to the end." And then the next comment was, "Pray for these people. They're deceived." So I got in my flesh just a little bit and I deleted the comments. But I want to do a video. I've been wanting to do a video about something else, but I'm going to be able to connect it to the catching away pretty good. I think you guys will like this one. But I just woke up, so you'll have to forgive me. My nose is kind of stopped up. It's always usually like that when I wake up in the morning, but it should get better. But anyway, I'm going to use a little clickbait too with the titles and stuff. I'm going to say something like "My Confession" and then put something like "We aren't going anywhere." But what I want to show you guys, and this is important, and this is the first verse that I want you guys to look at. Proverbs 18:13, it says, "He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him." And I think that's what a lot of the guys do that will say stuff like there ain't no rapture. They don't listen to the whole video. They've already made their mind up. And I'm going to show you where Jesus does say, "He that endures to the end will be saved." But that also goes to 2 Timothy. It says, "Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." What rightly dividing means is that certain scripture is written to certain people in certain times. Like rightly dividing would be like somebody going out in the woods looking for gopher wood to build an ark. Obviously, that's not written to us. You know what I mean? But anyway, like I said, Jesus said in Matthew, "But he that shall," because they were asking him the signs of the end. And he says, "But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved." And this is also Luke 21. That's the one I actually want to pull up to show you guys. I'm sorry, my nose, like I said, I just woke up about 30 minutes ago. I've already had my coffee. But let's see. Wanting to read something before I go on. But when Jesus was talking to those Jews, he was talking to the Jews. And you got to understand that he was preaching the kingdom. Jesus had not died yet, right? He wasn't preaching the death, burial, and resurrection. He was preaching that the kingdom of heaven was at hand, right? And he also, let me find this one. In Matthew, he says, "These 12, he sent forth and commanded them, go not." He said, "Go not into the way of the Gentiles. And any city of the Samaritans enter ye not," he says, "but go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." So Jesus wasn't even talking to us Gentiles then. He said, don't go to the Gentiles. And these were the same group of people he said that you shall endure to the end and you'll be saved. Okay. I'm going to go to Luke 21 too, but Jesus tells us what the sign of the end is. And I'm going to show you where when he was telling these people to endure to the end, he was predicting prophecy that part of it, well, a lot of it has already been fulfilled. It was fulfilled in the first century, and I'm going to show you this. Luke 21. I think it's around 8 or 9. Let's see. Okay. He says, "And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things, and when shall the sign be where these things shall come to pass. Okay, I don't want to skip past that. They're asking him when the end is going to happen. And he said, verse 8, he says, take heed that ye not be deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and the time draweth near. He says, go not there after them. Okay, and everybody knows these. It's in Matthew 24. And I just want to show you Luke 21 because he puts it a certain way where I'm going to show you something. But verse 9, he says, but when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for those things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. He says, then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. But there it says, but before all these, it says, check this out. Before all these things happen, he's talking about through the whole next 2,000 years here, okay? But then now he backs up. He says, but before all of these things happen, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you. He's talking about, right here, he's talking about the first century. He's talking about the Jews that he's telling to endure to the end. Listen to this. They shall lay hands on you and persecute you, delivering you to the synagogues, because they had the synagogues over there. You know, we don't have synagogues over here today. Well, we do, but he's talking to this specific group of Jews. And into prisons, being brought ye before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. He says, settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before ye shall answer. He says, for I give you mouth and wisdom, which all of your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And it says, you shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinfolks and friends, and some of you shall be caused to put to death. And you shall be hated by all men for my name's sake. But not one, it says, but there shall not one hair of your head perish, and your patience possess ye your souls. Okay, listen to this. And when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know the desolation thereof is nigh. Okay. When was Jerusalem compassed with armies? That happened in 70 or 90 AD. It happened in the first century. I mean, that's pretty much known because the Jews, they turned from Jesus, they rejected him, and he turned to the Gentiles. And he predicted that the temple would be destroyed, that no stone would be unturned of it, right? We know that happened. And he says, this generation will not pass until all these things happen. Let me see if I can find that one right here. But anyway, like I said, the first century, Jerusalem was compassed with armies and it was destroyed. So partial prophecy has already been fulfilled. And then he says, let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst depart out, and let not them that are in their countries and to enter in thereof. Because you got to think these people were living in Judea, and he was telling them that, you know, that Rome, that they're going to be invaded and they're going to be seized. And he's telling them that when this happens, to flee into the mountains. He says, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things are written may be fulfilled. And that's when he says, but give, for those that have child, woe unto them with child that give suck in those days. Okay, let me see. They shall be away captive by all nations. Yeah, this happens. See, look. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. So they got put on ships and made slaves. So a lot of people take this prophecy like this is the end, like the very, very end before the Great Tribulation. No, this happened in the first century. But in Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So he's predicting there's going to become a time of the Gentiles. And right here in 25, he's skipping way ahead because he says, and there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars and the earth of nations with perplexity and the seas and waves and roaring. Well, no, that's not the part where he says the sun shall be darkened, and that's like at the very end. But he says, men's heart fell on them for what's coming upon this earth. Yeah, and it says, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. So obviously, this is at the very end because we haven't seen that yet. Okay, I'm going to go to Matthew 24 real quick. This is where they ask him what the signs of the end are going to be. Where he says, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name. So he's telling, see, Luke and Matthew are telling the same. They heard Jesus telling the same story, but it was different perspectives, but it's the same thing. They're just describing it in their way. And I am Christ, and they shall deceive many, saying they are Christ. And you shall hear wars, rumors of wars, and be not troubled. All these things must come to pass. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence in earths and divers places. And these are the beginning of sorrows. It says, then they will deliver you up and kill you. This is talking about them and that generation. He says, many will be offended and shall betray one another. Many false Christs will arise. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And right here, here's where it says, but he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. He's talking about these people in the first century because he even says that this generation will not pass. But anyway, and then he says, he's speaking on a span of a long time because we know that that the desolation that the prophet Daniel talked about, the temple was destroyed, Rome seized. Because again, he says, let them which are in Judea flee in the mountains. Let him on the housetop take down anything from their house. Hold on. And these people are going to go through tribulation, big time. Okay. I'm trying to find this one verse. Hold on. But it says that this generation shall not pass until all these things be fulfilled. So he prophesied the temple being destroyed. Yeah, and also I hear a lot of people say this verse 29 says, immediately after the tribulation of those days. That's the tribulation of those days, is when all these people got captured and they got put on ships and sent to the four corners of the earth and had to flee for their life. They had to flee from Judea. And then Christ is skipping ahead. He says, after the tribulation of those days, then at the end, that's when it says, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. It says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. So we know the second coming. Well, see, here's where I want to get to these verses right here. Where Paul, after the Jews, he told them, he says, go not into the way of the Gentiles. He says, go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel only. Okay, and when Israel rejected their Messiah and had him killed, that's when he raised up Paul, right? And Paul was given a mystery. Paul says in 1 Corinthians, behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep. So there's a group of people that aren't going to die. Okay, and this has nothing to do with when Jesus was talking to the Jews, not the Gentiles, about having to flee into the mountains because they're going to be, in that generation they're in, they're going to have to flee for their lives. They're going to have to, they're getting ready to die. A lot of them are. You know what I mean? So this is after, they were seized and they were gone, God did something new. That's when he brought in the dispensation of grace. He says, I show you a mystery. And Colossians explains what this mystery is that was given to Paul. It says, even the mystery which hath been hid from ages and from generations, but is now manifest to the saints. So this mystery, Jesus, when he was talking to the Jews, he didn't reveal this mystery to them because it wasn't for them. He gave prophecy of what was going to happen to them. But when they rejected Christ, he raised up Paul and gave him a mystery. And that mystery is that God is going to the Gentiles. He's turning to the Gentiles too. So he's making a way to save everybody. I'm telling you, it's real important. Like it says, he that answer a matter before he hear it. You got to listen to it because it's folly and shame unto him. But right here, behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall be changed in the moment in the twinkling of an eye. At the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. And that's not talking about the trumpet judgments in the Great Tribulation from the angels. That's talking about the trump of God, like it says in 1 Thessalonians 4:17. He says at the trump of God, and it says, let me go there real quick. I don't want to botch it too bad. All right. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God. See, it's the trump of God. And the dead in Christ shall rise first. It says, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. So shall we ever be with the Lord. Now, see, you understand how this has nothing to do with those Jews, not Gentiles, but he said, go not into the way of the Gentiles. He was telling them what was going to happen to them, that their temple was going to be destroyed, but this was in the first century. And he told them to flee, was telling them to, when this happens, flee into the mountains. He's talking about their end, endure to the end. That was that generation. That has nothing to do with the mystery that was revealed to Paul. Let me see if there's anything else. That's pretty much about it. But it's so important to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So many people don't rightly divide the word of truth, and you're going to be lost in the Bible if you don't know when, who's being talked to. The scripture is not written to everyone. It's for us, but not all of it is written to us, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, that's it. Just wanted to share that. And like I said, I had that confession that I did delete those messages because they're like, there ain't no rapture. Jesus says we got to endure to the end. Well, Jesus is not talking to us because he clearly says, go not into the way of the Gentiles, but the lost sheep of the house of Israel only. So if you take verses out of context and you don't rightly divide it, you're going to be lost. Anyway, maybe this will help someone. I hope so. But anyway, love you guys. Hope y'all have a good day.
So, I'm going to talk about Jesus.
Hallelujah.
That's too loud.
Okay, sorry.
Do it nicely.
Oh,
okay?
yes. Hallelujah.